and you're never going to find the perfect bike or the perfect gear. We always say the bike to go around the world with is the one that you have.
Hey adventurer, I'm Bridget Hallam from Throw Your Leg Over, and today I am super excited to be chatting with Marisa Notier. Marisa is an amazing adventurer. I've followed her travels for a long time now. She's been riding around the world with her husband Tim for 8 years so far. And together they are known as Tour Up and Overloaded. Marissa's a YouTuber, she's a tour leader in amazing countries like Thailand and Borneo, and she's an all round fabulous woman. Hi, Marissa.
Hello, thank you so much for having me on. It's such an honor.
Oh, I'm so happy you're here. Now, I believe you are actually in Borneo at the moment, which is a long way from your hometown of Chicago in the US. So, I wonder if you can tell us how you became a world adventurer when you were back in Chicago. How did you come from Chicago to traveling around the world on your bike with Tim?
Yeah, and so before Tim and I started this incredible 8.5 year crazy motorcycle adventure all over the world, I actually hated the idea of motorcycles and riding on a motorcycle. By the way, I ride on the back of one. I am a pillion. I cannot ride my own motorcycle. And even that idea was just very, very scary to me. But he in Chicago had this Yamaha Raider 1900, a huge cruiser bike. And I was like, no, I do not want to ride on the back of that ever, even just around the block. But eventually he convinced me. And I think a lot of my fear was, of course, crashing, but I hadn't built that trust yet with the rider of the motorcycle. And so as we started to take rides around, we would do little camping trips. I realized that it was such a freeing, wonderful feeling and such a great way to travel the world. And we started dreaming of, wouldn't it be great if we could get to some mountains? In Chicago, there are no mountains. We are just in the flattest of the flat. And it takes days to get to anything that is remotely a hill. So we decided that we were going to save up for years. We did this little maiden voyage of the mountains, realizing for 2 weeks, realizing that, oh, this is amazing. And then we saved for years for this grand trip to go around the world, quit our jobs, just leave everything, pack everything on the motorcycle, and head south to see as far as we could get in the Americas and then see what was beyond that. And that was 8.5 years ago. And since then, I have grown to love, just love being on the back of the motorcycle. I had to gain that trust. And even we go off road and we fall, and I just love every bit of it now.
That is an amazing story. How much courage did you need to make that decision to quit your jobs and do this incredible thing that you'd never done before?
It is hugely scary. And I have this weird theory that the universe tries to put a bunch of obstacles in your way right at the beginning of your big trip. And that was very much true for us. I mean, we left without Tim having a license. It was a disaster. But um, I'm really glad that we did. And Tim had never even had a passport before. So to quit his job and go to or decide, hey, I'm going to go around the world and never having gone out of the country. Technically, he did go to Canada once when he was 14, but I don't really count that as a truly international experience. So that was a big leap of faith. But no matter what type of trip you're doing, it's going to be a big leap of faith and it's going to be very scary. But the scarier it is, the more rewarding it will be.
Oh, I love that. Now you sit on the back, you're pillion, like me, like when we're in Europe, I'm pillion on the back, and I take photos and videos, and I know that your videos on YouTube are just amazing.
Thank you.
So I want to ask you, what inspired you to make the videos and put them up on YouTube? Because they're brilliant.
Thank
And I'll
you.
share the link with everyone so that they can watch and subscribe to you guys, but they're amazing. So,
Yeah, we didn't make any videos or do any social media in the beginning. We did have, cameras and stuff, but we just did nothing with all of that footage. I don't even know if we would have survived those first few years if we had been making videos. We did all the Americas and then halfway up through Africa. And it wasn't until we got stuck in Africa during the pandemic that we didn't really have anything to do. We had all this previous footage and we were trying to continue our journey. So that's when we decided to start making videos. And it is very, very time consuming, but I think it's definitely worth it for us. Perhaps not financially, but the community that we've grown through our YouTube channel of just friends and the motorcycle community is the absolute best. People like you, it's so much just inspiration and it's definitely helped us keep going and has made everything about the journey worth it. It's not about the places you visit, but the people that you meet. So that has been very, very influential for us, the YouTube channel.
yeah, I love that. Now, I do have to ask you about one particular moment I saw on one of your videos that made me, I think you know what I'm going to ask you about, in Lesotho, in
Yes.
Africa. And I watched this part of your video and I think I nearly passed out. And can you please tell us about that moment and tell us what happened? And I especially want to know what the conversation was like afterwards.
Oh, yes. I hate watching that video. It just brings up all the worst feelings in the world for me. Basically, we were at this beautiful cliff. I think I can remember the name, Maletsunyani Cliff. Waterfalls, there's like this gorgeous kind of bowl cliff area, and the waterfalls are in the distance. And Tim had this grand idea to bring the motorcycle down this very steep, rugged area and get that perfect Instagram picture of the motorcycle in front of the cliff and the waterfalls in the background. And he did so. I took pictures. I was standing a little bit higher up. And then he realized he couldn't get the motorcycle back up off of this steep incline. It was very much shale rocks, very loose rocks, and very steep. And so every time he kept trying to ride up, the back tire would just kick out rocks from the back. And so I put the helmet down, and the helmet is actually with the GoPro that's recording. People often see that video and they're like, why isn't the person who's recording this help out? There's nobody there. It is just the helmet. And I go over to help push the bike up this cliff. And as I'm walking over there, Tim is trying once again to get the motorcycle up the cliff, and he falls over and almost falls off of the cliff. The motorcycle slides back, and you can hear me screaming in the video. And it's like this blood-curdling, horrible sound that I don't like to listen to myself screaming like that because I thought he was dead for sure. And it took us, I would say, a good 10 minutes to get that motorcycle up, both of us pushing. And it was absolutely terrifying, but we were able to get it up. We sat down. We told one another, I mean, just shaking, the whole body shaking. And we turned to each other and said, we are never telling anyone about this because it was so embarrassing. I mean, he was about to be on the 6 o'clock news as the dumb tourist who was taking a picture next to the cliff edge and then stepped over it, right? That was going to be us. But yeah, we did have that footage and yeah, it shows everything.
Oh my gosh. I want to know, like, how did you, apart from being terrified and fear up to the top of your head and everywhere, but did you want to strangle him? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I really did. But you don't necessarily realize how bad a situation is going to be until you're in it. It happens to us all. And that's one of the things about motorcyclists is we know it's risky. We go into it knowing the risk. And you just have to accept that humans sometimes make mistakes, and there is risk involved with what we do, especially when you're trying to take pictures in Lesotho in Southern Africa. You're going to face challenges, and that's just all a part of it.
so I think you have just demonstrated or proved to me that you are who I thought you were, Marissa. I always got this vibe from you that you were a very level headed, kind of, okay, we're in this situation, but how are we going to get out kind of person. Tim seems more the one that sort of sparks off here, there, and everywhere, and you're the one that just keeps everything on the level and keep on going and calm everything down. Am I interpreting that correctly, or am I totally up the wrong track?
That's very flattering. I try to be. Of course, I'm not always that person, but I have to be useful for something. So, yeah, I try to be the person who kind of knows where we're going. I plan out the routes. I try to learn a little bit of the local language. I try to be useful in whichever way I can. And that is one of the ways, trying to keep cool under pressure, but I fail. And sometimes Tim is the one that actually he knows what to do in that moment. So it is definitely a balance.
Okay, that leads beautifully into another question I have for you, because long-term adventures do have a reputation of ending relationships.
Yes.
And you guys have been on the road for 8.5 years now. I wonder if you could share with us the best thing about traveling with your partner and maybe the most challenging thing.
Absolutely. I think that's right. Sometimes relationships do end because when you are traveling with someone, you're basically in a crucible. This is a very intense, if not the most intense thing that you could do with your partner. But at the same time, it can also really make your relationship. And I don't think it's even 50-50. I think most of the time it's that intense experience that strengthens it, it forges it. And for us, that has been absolutely the case. Before our travels, we were just two people doing our jobs, seeing each other in the evenings, watching Wheel of Fortune or whatever it was. And, we would have a weekend together. But this, as we're traveling, we are within physical contact almost 24 hours a day. It is so intense that, yeah, disagreements turn into arguments. Social media and YouTube has a tendency to make it seem like everything's perfect and all of our travels are just honky-dory, but they really aren't. We have terrible disagreements, just like any couple out there. And so those moments, though, I try to remind myself that this is what makes our relationship stronger. Now that we've been doing this for 8.5 years, when we have those disagreements, which we do all the time, I know we're going to get through it and we're going to be stronger for it. And this is just one of those little challenges that you face, one of those hurdles that you have to get over. Whereas in the beginning, I really had the mindset of traveling is either going to make or break us. And I was very concerned it was going to break us. And so every argument that we would have, I would think, oh, this is it. This is going to be the end of our trip. This is going to be the end of us. And it wasn't, thank goodness. But I think some bit of advice that I would give to anyone who's looking to travel long term with their partner is to realize that those moments aren't necessarily a breaking moment. Those are a strengthening moment. And to have that mindset that you're going to get over it in 24 hours from now, things are going to be so much better. That is the key to getting through it. And there's some other tips that I have for traveling with a partner. One of which is to find your space. Because, like I said, we are just basically touching all the time. But the beauty of motorcycle travel is that you have helmets. And some couples talk to each other throughout the day on their Bluetooth system. We have Cardos. And if it's a very stressful situation, we will talk throughout it all. But in general, we can hang up on the other person. And in the very beginning of our travels, if we started getting into an argument and Tim hung up on me, I would be like, oh no. And I would chime into him and be like, did you just hang up on me? And then, of course, the argument would get much, much worse. And this is definitely not what you should be doing while you're riding a motorcycle, especially in some other country with some crazy terrain and crazy drivers. So we have a rule now that if someone hangs up on the other person, you just let it go. They need their space. And that is the only way for us to get space in that moment.
Oh, I love that.
So
Yeah.
beauty of the helmet. Yeah, it's like you've got your own little room. I love it. And we use that.
Alan and I don't have Bluetooth. That was a conscious decision so that we have our own space. But it's interesting too, like in the tent when we're camping, I'm very like, don't put your stuff in my space. Like that space is so important. So important.
Yes,
Because your space is tiny and I
yes.
protect it.
Another thing that we do, which I bet you guys do as well, because if you have your own kind of like, all right, this is my pannier or this is my bag. For us, it's this is my backpack. And so if I want to purchase something that is heavy or ridiculous or perhaps not something I should be traveling with, but hey, I really want it, be like, well, I'm going to carry it in my backpack. So there's nothing you can say about it. That's my space. And I get to choose what goes in there. And it's literally my burden to carry.
I love that. Yeah, space is so important. And you mentioned you have another couple of tips for us.
Yes. So if you are interested in having a long-term travel or motorcycle ride, it can be just more than a weekend or whatever it is, but it's a big trip. My suggestion is to set a date for it. Because, like you said in the beginning, it is very scary to take that initial leap of faith. So, a lot of people ask me, how much money do I need to do this trip? What motorcycle do I need? What is the gear that I need? How much mechanical experience do I need? And my answer is you don't need any of that. You just need to pick a date and then go for it because a lot of that can hold people back from ever accomplishing their dreams. They focus on the dollar amount or they focus on, oh, I'm not mechanically inclined enough. You know, Tim at the very beginning, he could change his oil and, plug a tire, and that was about it. And so we, yeah, have learned a couple, well, we being Tim, actually, I have zero mechanical knowledge whatsoever, but he's learned quite a bit over the years, but by no means is a mechanic. You don't need that. You don't need any of that. And you're never going to find the perfect bike or the perfect gear. We always say the bike to go around the world with is the one that you have. So yeah, we set a date for ourselves. It was, I believe, August 21st of 2017. And that was the day of the total solar eclipse in the United States. And so we really liked the stars. We saw the eclipse and then headed off the next day.
That is amazing. I love that tip. And I think that's something that we can apply to many, many things in our lives, not just motorcycle adventures, just anything that feels a bit big or a bit daunting, or that you feel like you're not really equipped for the task. I think setting a date is the best way to do it, and tell people you're doing it and then figure out how.
Yes.
Like set the date and then figure out how.
Yes.
And I agree. I think the money and all the technical things can distract you and get you off the path of where you want to go. It doesn't have to be perfect. It really
Yeah.
doesn't. Things will evolve as you go. And you guys are like the perfect example of it evolving as you go.
I think everyone is, though, in many ways.
Yes. Oh, God, we could go really deep here. I mean, that's life, isn't it? That's what life's all about.
Yeah.
I might edit that bit out.
Yeah.
Now, Marissa, we often get questions from people asking about border crossings. And we've
Mm.
had lots of different experiences with border crossings. What's your take on preparing for border crossings and just making them as smooth as possible?
Oh, yes. We have had all sorts of crazy adventures at the border. And you just have to know that going in. And you have to always keep in mind that the border guard that you are giving your passport and papers into, this is their universe. They are 100% in control. And even if they do the most outrageous things and they say no to this and they're making problems for you or they're asking for bribes or whatever it is, they are in the right because nothing you can say will ever be like, oh yeah, can I talk to your manager? And there's nothing you can say in that situation to make it right. If you truly come across a roadblock, literally and figuratively, then, and thankfully, it's only really happened to us once, but to step back, give it some time, and maybe return when there's a different guard in. Also, just waiting there at the border. These people kind of don't want you just hanging around causing problems for them all day. Be as nice as you can possibly be. Like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. But you can be a little annoying with your niceness. And eventually they might just want to get you through. It is a stressful situation. And sometimes we want to just yell and scream because what's happening is very unfair and not according to the rules. But we just have to suck it up. Tim and I always play bad cop, good cop. So I don't know if you can guess who the bad cop is, but we'll have one person go to the border and do all the paperwork. Borders are very sketchy areas, even in the safest of countries. So we always have someone watching the bike at all times. And then the other person goes in, starts doing some stuff. If they have problems, they come back. The other person tries a different tactic, right? One person can say, hey, the rules are this, and look at this on my phone. This is what it says. I should be able to pass. And the other person can be like, I'm so sorry, I didn't know, right? You can kind of play both sides of it and add that extra annoyingness to get the border guard to finally let you through just out of pure, you know, I don't want to see this person trying to talk to me anymore.
I love it. I love it. And, I mean, we have not had any big problems with border crossings where we've been, but I always find I've learned over the years that to have a full stomach before we turn up and have snacks and water
Yes.
because everything's harder when you're hungry.
Yes. I also recommend showing up very early. I'm sure you do the same. Go early in the morning. Then you've got all day to work this out. A lot of borders do close at certain times. A lot of them go on siesta or lunch break, and then at night it's just completely closed. So showing up as early as you can when they're all fresh and maybe still having a good day before they've already talked to 100 people that really annoyed them. That is the best strategy, I think.
I love it. Thank you, Marissa. I am so, so pleased to chat with you finally.
Yes.
And I want to say thank you also for just being such an inspiration to me and to many, many women around the world. And I will share in the show notes where people can follow you, all your links to your website and your YouTube and your everything.
Thank you.
But if you could just quickly share, if there's someone listening and she wants to follow you, where can she find you?
Absolutely. So I am one half of Two Up and Overloaded, my husband and I. So it is with a number two, and you can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. You can also go to twoupandoverloaded.com. That's our website, and check out our tours that we're doing. We do a motorcycle tour where you can actually ride with us. We guide the tour in Borneo, and we have a brand new one that we just started in Thailand, where you go to all the incredible roads up in the north that are super famous, as well as island riding, which is just so great in Thailand and the beaches. So you can check that out at twoupandoverloaded.com. And yeah, check us out on YouTube, Instagram, message us. I would love to chat and grow our community.
Fantastic. I love that. Thank you, Marissa. It's been an absolute delight chatting with you.
Thank you. It has been such an honor. I've been a big fan of you guys for a while. I love everything that you do, and you always do it so professionally and so beautifully. So, yeah, Throw Your Leg Over has been a staple in my life for a while, and I'm loving your podcast so far.
Oh, you make me cry.
Oh, it's the truth. You guys are amazing.
Thank you.